Hey guys, it's Keshav. So we're back on George Washington University campus today, and if you haven't seen my previous video entitled The College Experience, that's where I give you sort of a comprehensive overview of what college is like. But in this video, I want to hone in a little bit more specifically on freshman year. What are some things you can do to prepare for it and really survive the year? In the months leading up to your first day of college, there are at least 3 things I'd say you've got to be prepared for. First of all, class registration. So I had no idea that class registration could be such a cutthroat competition, but it is, and because I didn't realize that, I practically didn't get half the classes I wanted. Because the reality is that the demand far outweighs the supply. There are so many more people that want seats in these classes than there are seats in those classes. So you've really got to be prepared for that moment. And you add to that the fact that you get the last pick as a freshman. Everybody else's registration window is going to be before yours. So it's going to start with something like grad students and then seniors, and then it's going to work its way down to freshmen. So a couple things you've got to do to be prepared for this moment. First of all, know when your registration window is. So go to your registrar's website, and it's going to say at this day and at this time, freshmen are going to have access to the system. And on that day, several minutes prior to that moment, even a half an hour or an hour or so, make sure that you have the web page open, hand poised over the mouse, ready to start registering the second that that window opens, because that's what everybody else is going to be doing. And second of all, you've got to put together a schedule for yourself far in advance. So look up the CRNs, the course registration numbers for all the classes you want to take, put it on an Excel spreadsheet of what you want to take, and then arrange alternative schedules for yourself and go through all the permutations and combinations of what happens if I don't get this class or this other one, and so on. Keep in mind that classes that are later in the day are going to be a lot more popular than the ones in the morning. So if you are willing to bite that bullet, then you're going to have a higher likelihood of getting a seat in that class. Also know that the system doesn't like it when you have like a time conflict or something. It's gonna, if you try to register for them all at once, it'll reject the entire schedule because of one mistake, and you're gonna waste valuable time in your registration window. So one thing I recommend is put the CRNs in there one at a time, click apply each time, and at least that way you'll lock in seats in most of those classes. But either way, just make sure that you are ready for class registration before that time comes. The next thing to be prepared for is move-in day, the actual day that you're going to be moving into your dorm. So when you're considering what you need to bring with you, just be aware that you will have basic necessities in your room. You'll have a desk and a chair, a mattress, and of course a bathroom, maybe a fridge and a microwave, but everything else you're going to have to supply for yourself. Just don't freak out if you forget something, because there are stores on campus and you can always just buy it when you get here. Lafayette Hall, actually, which is the dorm right behind me on the corner, that was my freshman year dorm, and CVS is literally right across the street from it. So there's also Whole Foods and Safeway down the street, so it's not a big deal if you forget something. The other thing I wanted to talk on is if you want the good spot in the room, if you want the bed that's not the bunk bed, or if you want the good closet or something, then you need to either get there early on move-in day, or you need to look for opportunities where campus will allow you to move in earlier than that. So at least at GW, I don't know if this is still a thing, but at least it used to be, where if you volunteer to help other people move in, then the school will let you move in a day earlier. But either way, if you don't get whatever you want, if it's not exactly the way that you had hoped, if you don't get the good bed or whatever, don't make a big deal out of it. It's not the end of the world. It's really, what's more important is the relationships you have with your roommates, and I've talked on that before. Being able to say that you lived with somebody in college is not something you can say about everybody else. So really prioritize that relationship. Third thing is, at least before classes start, to make sure you know your way around campus. So when you get here, of course, use every excuse that you can to get out of your dorm room. Don't be a hermit and hide in your dorm as much as possible. Instead, get a map, go out, start exploring. Make sure you know, once you have your class schedule, where your classes are going to be. Not just the buildings, but also the classrooms. If those buildings are unlocked, go inside, see if you can find it, because you'll have a class sometimes in a room that's like 221A or something, and you'll be like, well, I can see 221, but I can't see where A is, right? Last thing you want is first day of class is to be the last guy or girl walking in and drawing attention to yourself because you didn't know where the class was and so you were late. Last 2 things I wanted to talk on for when your first classes have elapsed and your freshman year is kind of underway are, first of all, the opportunities that you have to make friends. Like I've said 100 times before, take advantage of the opportunities. So when you first get to college, everybody else is just as new as you. So be nice to your classmates and your roommates, chat them up, make friendly conversation, and that's really how you plant the roots for friendships that are going to last even after you graduate college. The second thing is freshman 15. So if you've heard of it, it's this concept where most freshmen are likely to gain anywhere from 10 to 15 pounds because of the stress and the newness of it all. But there are a lot of things you can do to mitigate that. So first of all, take advantage of your on-campus gym. Most campuses will have a gym that's free for students to use. Here at GW, we have Lerner Health and Wellness Center, known as Hellwell for short, and it's a really nice gym. It's got an indoor track, a swimming pool, and weights and all that stuff. So allocate time for that in your schedule. A thing to note about your schedule is it's not the same as it was in high school, where you just have class after class after class, and then you go home at like 3 in the afternoon, and you can do whatever you want after then. In college, you're gonna have a class that's like from 9 to 10:30 in the morning, and then another one from like 12 to 2, and then maybe another one from 4 to 6. So in between classes is when you need to make use of your time. So in addition to going to the gym, also make sure you're getting your work done before the evening rolls around. Because if you don't do that, then by the time all your classes are over at 8 o'clock in the evening, you're gonna end up pulling an all-nighter to get your homework done. And poor sleep will also lead to weight gain. Diet, of course, is another obvious component of this. Don't give in to the excessive alcohol consumption that takes place on college campuses. It's not worth the sacrifice, and that's like the quickest way for you to gain weight. So. Also, when it comes to your diet, there are healthy options on campus, and make sure you seek them out. There is a Whole Foods down the street, like I talked about earlier. There are some good restaurants on that same row right in front of the metro. Don't just go to the dining hall every day and get like pizza and bagels, because that's how you're going to gain weight as well. So as long as you're prioritizing your health, your diet, your sleep, and all those things, then you're going to be better off. And freshman year was never a problem for me because I was disciplined enough to do that, and I put all those things into practice. So I recommend that you do the same. So I hope you guys liked the video. Unfortunately, yes, you are expected to be a little ahead of the game before you even get to college, but hopefully after watching this video, you can do that more effectively. Behind me is H Street, by the way. That runs pretty much through the middle of campus, where Kogan Plaza is and Marvin Center and all that stuff. You're going to find yourself spending a lot of time there if you are coming to GW. Either way, hope you liked the video. Let me know if you have any other questions, and I'll see you next time.